Welcome to the podcast. We Do Recover with Jared Miller, your host.
And I'm Dr. Terry Sellers, your co-host.
This is a podcast about recovery from addiction.
We want to talk about what successful recovery can look like.
Brought to you by High Desert Counseling, Rise Up Supplements, and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn.
Welcome, everybody. Episode 117 of We Do Recover with Jared Miller. It's going to be a fun episode, I think. We have a special guest in studio, Noella Sudbury.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Glad
Welcome.
you're here. This will be fun.
For those of you that don't know Noella, she is the CEO and founder at Raza Public Benefit Corporation and Clean Slate, Utah. And we're going to talk about all that.
That's a lot of stuff.
Love it.
She's got way cooler credentials than I do. That's a lot of cool stuff. Well, before we get into it, let's do a couple of quick things. First, let's talk about our sponsors for just a second. High Desert Counseling. High Desert Counseling is a progressive substance abuse treatment facility with a practical approach. They offer day treatment, morning and evening IOP, continuation of care, Prime for Life programs. Check out their website at highdesert.help or call them at 435-673-2899. They have facilities located in St. George and Cedar City, Utah. I want to say this about High Desert. One of the things I know about High Desert is they really try to tailor it to the respective client. They're not a sort of one size fits all kind of place. They really make it about the patient. So we love them. Thanks for sponsoring us.
Yeah, thank you for sponsoring this podcast. Episode 117, Part 1 is also brought to us by Rise Up Supplements. Rise Up Supplements is a nootropic supplement line aimed at optimizing brain function and supporting mental health. They have two powerful blends. Mindful Mood helps decrease anxiety and enhance mood, while Mind Shift helps increase focus and optimize brain function. Place your order at riseupsups.com. That's RISEUPS.com. I just want to say something real quick about, I oftentimes get people that reach out and they say, hey man, I love what you're doing. I love the direction you're going. You know, how do I support? How do I help? The honest answer to that is we always love referrals. If somebody's willing to come on and share their story of recovery, that's fantastic. Yep. The other way is support our sponsors.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't have a loved one that needs treatment, that's okay. Go to their page, follow them, like their stuff, help spread the word. If you've ever considered a nootropic, these are supplements for the brain. That's what nootropic means. Check out Rise Up Sups.
Let me
support us through supporting our sponsors.
Let me mention this too. I got a little bit of mind shift going right now.
Yeah,
I took my mind shift this morning. I'm feeling pretty good, so that's great. So give it a shot.
Should we have Noella kick us off with some new and goods?
Yes. So the first thing we do here is new and goods. Is there anything? And I don't know do we need to make her go first? Because that seems unfair.
Yeah, I want to get her. her involved. Let's get her in the mix.
All right. What's new and good in your life this week?
This week.
Anything
wow.
fun? Well,
the whole Rasa team is down here in St. George for a retreat this week. So pretty excited to be out of the snow and into the sunshine. So that is great.
Noella's from Salt Lake.
Yes.
Yeah. So they've been pounded all year. This has been a really wet year for sure.
Very.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's good you're down here. And you picked a nice weekend. The weather is absolutely perfect.
It's gorgeous.
I'm jealous. When do I get to go on a retreat?
That
sounds awesome.
You live in a retreat.
That's right.
This is where you live. You have to come up to the snow to retreat for us. You could ski, come up and ski into Gwyneth Paltrow if you wanted to.
Yeah, I actually love skiing.
Yeah. Apparently somebody did that a long time ago, and he just lost the lawsuit.
Ooh.
He owes her $1.
Ooh.
And legal fees.
I was going to leave the legal fees out, but whatever. I thought the $1 was
Which
cute.
is going to be around, I think, about $300,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I was watching that case too
Well,
much,
she
too
probably
closely.
did not hire a cheap lawyer.
Nope.
So, that guy's going to be in, he's going to have to pay some fees, although he's pretty wealthy.
Noella.
Did I get
That's
off track?
exciting for you and your team.
Did I get off track?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's cool. Shout out to the whole Raza team.
Thank you.
I might have gotten off track.
We may have scrolled for a minute. That's okay.
That's what I do. All right. Well, welcome to St. George. It's sunny and lovely. Hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you.
All right. Well, shall we get into some content?
What about you and Sean?
Oh, yeah. There's other people here.
Yeah.
Sean. It's new and good in the world of Sean Denovan.
You guys are the second to last podcast before I blow this room up.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can see from right outside this room there is about
1,000
9,000
boxes.
pieces of equipment
In
out
fact,
there.
Amazon just showed up and dropped. I think they dropped off another 7 or 8 boxes. So I'm replacing the cameras with 4K cameras. I'm getting rid of some
sweet.
stuff.
Hey, Sean, can you talk into the microphone?
Yeah, I am. Oh,
No,
sorry.
you were looking at the Amazon guy.
Yeah.
Will the checkerboard stay?
That's fun.
The
Yeah.
checkerboard, the checkerboards will stay.
I like
All
it.
But I
right.
got some cool LED lights that are going to sit behind the chair. So I'm going to pull the chairs out so there'll be like this rising
Glow
color
from behind
us.
your head. So
We'll look like little
Angels.
like saints in Catholic paintings.
yeah, so not a whole lot visually for most people, a whole lot of back end stuff though. So I'm kind of excited
Fun stuff.
because it's nice spending other people's money.
Yeah, this is your gig though, right? You love tinkering
Oh yeah, I
and
do.
tearing
I
stuff
love it. I
apart.
love it. It's my call in life.
Yeah. Jared Miller, what's new and good in your world today?
New and good in my world. So next weekend, I will be up in your neck of the woods, Utah
What?
County. Yeah, Utah County, Salt Lake area.
Where are you staying?
I don't know yet. I gotta
Stay at
figure
my
that out.
house.
My nephew. Yeah, I probably could.
Please do.
We'll talk about it.
if you want to.
My nephew's getting married on Saturday. Todd Sylvester invited me on his podcast Friday, so
Oh,
we're
sweet.
gonna 2 birds, 1 stone. I'm super excited for my nephew. He's getting married. Young, sharp, smart kid. I'm excited for him. Seems like he's got a real cute fiance.
Where's he getting married?
Did I say that? Did that sound? That sounded fancy, didn't
Sounded
it?
so fancy.
Fiance.
That sounded French.
So
what,
I think the Salt
where's he
Lake,
getting married?
Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Yeah, temple.
Sweet. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm guessing you're not going
Don't quote me on that.
to the marriage, to the wedding.
No, I'll be there for the party afterwards, baby.
Exactly.
Party's the
Yes,
best part.
green Jello and
Nice.
Carrots with carrots threaded into it. I like that.
yeah. That's how
You
we
can
get
make
down
a
here
dish
in
together.
Utah.
You can
Yeah.
do some jello
Let's
making.
go.
Funeral
Let's
potatoes.
go. All right.
Relief Society potatoes. What are those called?
Yeah, funeral
Yeah,
potatoes.
funeral
Yeah.
potatoes.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm gonna get my dance on. I'm gonna get my food on.
You're gonna get all Mormon on us. Jeez. I'm scared for you there. All right. Shall we?
What about you?
Oh, I don't have any.
You don't have any seller silly
Oh
seconds?
shoot! I forgot to do seller
That's
silly
okay.
seconds. I
That's all right.
forgot.
Let's
That's terrible. All right,
let's dive into this.
we're
in
gonna
head
pass.
first.
We're gonna pass on seller silly seconds. New and good is I can do it. New and good though probably. I started working at a ketamine clinic
Wow.
in
That's
Orem.
cool.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Did I just call somebody or did they call me?
I think you did.
I did.
Just
Here,
making
Here,
some
let me-
phone
let me help
calls.
you out
Get
there.
rid of my.
Take away your toys.
All right,
Hello,
Noella.
hello.
Let's
I'm
kick
gonna-
this thing off.
All right, let's go. Wait, I had more.
Oh,
I did not. Let's go. Noella, RASA.
Yes.
Tell me what RASA does.
RASA is a public benefit corporation on a mission to make the process of clearing a criminal record simple and affordable for everyone.
boom! It's like she read that.
What just happened?
It's
We were talking a little bit before because he likes to plan a bunch and I don't plan at all. But we said one of the things I want to do is ask you what RASA does, and then I want to get sort of a mission statement. And guess what?
There it is.
You just hit us with the mission statement right
But-
up front.
let's break that down.
Yes.
Let's dumb it down. I'm excited about this podcast, episode 117, because there's going to be a lot of information, education for our listeners. How this ties into a podcast about recovery is not too long ago, possessions were felonies. Like all of my possession charges stemming from, 2011 to 2014 were all felony.
2019. Be real.
No, it was like 2001, 2014.
kidding.
They were all felonies, right?
Yep.
And nowadays they're misdemeanors. And so I think there's a lot of listeners that have probably a prior criminal history that's substance abuse related, and they don't want it on there anymore because, frankly, it holds you back.
Absolutely.
Trying to get my license through Doppel was like, whew, trying to thread a garden hose through the needle of an sewing needle.
Whoa, man.
Through the eye of a
What
sewing
just
needle.
happened?
I don't know. Anyways, it was rough.
We
in
know
other
what you
words.
mean.
Thank you.
It was difficult.
So break that down a little bit for us.
Wait, before you break that down, I have a question. Can I interject here? What's the difference between RASA and Clean Slate Utah? What?
Oh, great
tell me,
What a great
tell
question.
me what's going on with that. I don't totally understand the.
So I founded both organizations, but Clean Slate Utah is a nonprofit that is currently being led by an amazing executive director, Destiny Garcia.
Okay.
Clean Slate's purpose is to raise awareness of Utah's new-ish automatic clearance law, which provides automatic expungement for certain qualifying misdemeanor criminal records.
So that answered one of my questions right there.
Yeah, but she said misdemeanors.
Right, that's what I mean.
So
Like,
right there's an issue. What if mine are felonies? I can't use Clean Slate Utah, right?
Well, that's where RASA comes in.
Okay.
So RASA was really created for two reasons. And it really was born out of our work at Clean Slate. So
Okay.
Clean Slate
So Clean
passed.
Slate came first.
Clean Slate came first,
Okay.
yes. So Utah's Clean Slate law passed in 2019. It applies to over 500,000 records. So even though it's just misdemeanors, it's still a huge impact.
Sure.
And the idea of Clean Slate is that the government actually has all of the information that it needs to know who's eligible to clear their criminal records, right? They have all of the records, and we have a law saying who can expunge their record.
Right.
And so the only question for lawmakers under Utah's Clean Slate law was, might there be a list of offenses where if individuals have remained crime-free for a set period of time, done everything the court has asked them to do, then maybe there shouldn't be a long, costly, complicated process for people to clear their criminal records. Maybe certain records should just drop off automatically. And so, lucky for the people of Utah, lawmakers said yes. And in 2019, Utah was only the second state in the whole nation to pass a Clean Slate law. So if an individual is eligible for automatic clearance, what that means is they don't have to do anything. The government is just going to identify their records as eligible for expungement and clear them automatically. They don't need to get on a list, get a lawyer, go through any process. It's just going to happen
automatically.
automatically.
So what's the criteria for that?
So for a Clean Slate, it doesn't apply to everything that can be expunged under Utah law, but it does apply to misdemeanor A-level drug possession offenses and almost all misdemeanor B and C level offenses. There are a couple of big exceptions to that. DUIs, I say that because that's a super common offense and is typically charged as a misdemeanor, and simple assault. But for most other crimes, even if you have both a misdemeanor and a felony record, your misdemeanors might drop off, which is great for you. You have a shorter record.
Sure.
Or if you just have a misdemeanor record, and hopefully that's more true going into the future as we've seen this decriminalization of drug-related offenses. Hopefully, once you're able to get out of the justice system, your record will go away. So where RASA comes in, then
After how many years, though, do they
yeah.
automatically drop that off?
So there's waiting periods. So
You're getting way ahead of yourself.
we're really getting into the weeds right away. I love it.
Okay, yeah. I'm kind of a deets guy.
Yeah, but I want
this
to. But
is
I want to go
great.
back
Okay,
some.
okay,
But
I'm
that's
sorry.
all right.
Yeah,
No,
no,
answer-
that's okay. We can go all over.
Yeah,
So
let's just bounce around. It's better for me.
misdemeanor A level, and the only misdemeanor A that qualifies for automatic clearance is drug possession. That's after 7 years.
Okay.
Misdemeanor Bs are 6 years. Misdemeanor Cs are 5 years. So under the court-based process.
Okay, one more time, just
Yes.
because maybe somebody listening kind of heard it but didn't get enough time. So misdemeanor A's,
Misdemeanor A, 7
Possession.
years.
7
Possession
years.
of a controlled
Those are
substance.
possessions, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Most misdemeanor Bs, 6 years.
6 years.
Most misdemeanor Cs, 5
5
years.
years. Okay, thanks.
Nice.
I just like clarity for people that
It's-
are listening
it's
if they're
good.
not writing fast enough.
Yes, one of the major goals of Clean Slate is to raise awareness of this law, and people need to know what it is to.
So let me
understand.
ask you this about Clean Slate, and we'll be all over the map because I thrive on that stuff anyway. But
That's why this podcast is awesome.
before there was a thing called Clean Slate Utah, there was a law passed, which is the Clean Slate law. Am I correct in the order?
Correct.
The law was passed, and then Clean Slate Utah came into existence after that.
Yes.
What was the inspiration? Like, how did? Do you have any idea how the law was pushed and passed? Like, who was behind that?
I do.
I bet you do. I can tell that you know a lot about this, so I figured you'd know the answer to that.
I'm pretty involved in this stuff for a lot of years. So Utah's Clean Slate law kind of came to be when I was working for Salt Lake County. I was a policy advisor to then Salt Lake County Mayor Ben McAdams. And we got approached on criminal justice reform. So I'm a public defender by training, have done a lot of legal work over the years, but also a lot of policy work. So working for the mayor, got a call from the Department of Workforce Services saying, Noella, we have something that we'd like to work on with you. We have all of these metro centers all across Utah where the state of Utah is trying to get people into jobs. And the problem is that employers are saying they need, the labor market is so tight that they're looking for living, breathing human beings. And every day we see hundreds of living, breathing human beings coming into our center. The problem is that many of them have criminal records.
Now, what year was this? I apologize.
This was back in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been a while. I can't believe how quickly the time's gone.
6 years ago.
Yeah. So they said, we know you're a lawyer. Why don't you just come down and just tell people how to get their criminal records cleared? And I said, I've done a few of these as a public defender. The system that we have is really costly, really complicated. I think that's going to be more frustrating than helpful, but I'm super excited you guys want to do something. And I'm sort of a systems thinker, which means you got to get everybody who touches the system into a room and together kind of talk about what's going well, what the problems are, and brainstorm a solution, because that's how we create buy-in. So I said, if you'll come to a meeting, I want to bring people with records to share their perspective. I want to bring police officers. I want to bring courts, prosecutors, public defenders, community partners all together and have a conversation about how we might be able to tackle this problem and get people into jobs. So they agreed to do that. And I think the thing that led to the law was an event called Expungement Day, which was on April 5th, 2018, since we're talking about dates. And the idea we came up with all together was, could we, so typically to expunge a record, you can get misdemeanors and felonies off, but costly, complicated, lots of steps, lots of time, typically takes a year. Could we, for one day only, do it in one day and make it free? And if we were to try that, what might we learn about our system that could lead to longer term change? And so it was way more ambitious than we thought it was going to be. I was going to
say, man, you set that bar pretty high. One day.
So essentially, though, you're asking a whole bunch of people to come together and donate their time.
Donate their time.
For one day.
For one day. 50 volunteer attorneys, raise a bunch of money to cover all the government fees, have the courts bring their clerks and their setup into a warehouse and, draw lines, draw a map on the floor, invite a bunch of people with records.
Real quick, listeners, Noella's going to show up in her Superwoman suit in part 2 of this because that's next to a freaking miracle.
Right.
Getting all those people together,
kind of
raising the money. Mind blown.
Well, that's a big deal right there.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Amazed that people agreed to let me do it, and so grateful for the mayor for letting me just kind of run with it.
That's so cool.
It was really, really cool. And it was so cool to see the community come together, because one of the problems about the criminal justice system, in my view, is that we're so siloed. And it was so amazing to me that we brought into one room all of these different systems, and they had never met each other. The people who were clearing the records at the court had never met the people at the Department of Public Safety, and yet they're touching the same record, right? And neither of them have met the person with the record. And so to really bring it into one place just created so much understanding of why our system is so broken to begin with.
Okay, I got a quick question though that's way out there off base. You ever seen any of those government or police sting operations where they invite people to come and then it's a sting and they wind up arresting them? Did you have anybody think it was that?
We had a lot of people afraid of that, actually.
Yeah. That's what's going through my mind is, I might be afraid to show up to something like that if I had a long record.
No, we had to do a lot of kind of public education because we did have police there. Huge crowd of people, wanted people to feel safe, and people are like, well, am I going to be arrested? Is this a trick? Is my probation officer going to catch me? And we had to say, no, this is to make people safe. And even if you're currently involved in the criminal justice system and not eligible and you just want to come learn, come. If you have a warrant, we'll help you clear it. Like, the goal of this event is to be helpful
Right.
Across our whole system.
And it sounds like there was a lot of people that showed up.
Yeah. Oh my. Yes.
Do you have
It
any
was
idea
insane.
Do you have any idea how many records you
That day?
that day?
We ended up serving about 200 people that day, but we had hundreds and hundreds of people come. And for me, this day, I think, was what led to Clean Slate, what led to RASA, because, you know, I'm the person organizing the event. I show up 6 o'clock with, like, it's dark. I've got my boxes, and there's, like, already, like, a line of people
Oh, geez.
out the door.
That's a really cool origin story, though. Like
That's
how this whole thing
amazing.
came about.
That's a great story, right?
You know, I
That's
think just
cool.
getting all those people together in that same room. The tough thing, I would agree, Noella, is the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing a lot of times
That's
in those
crazy.
scenarios. And I'm sure that they get frustrated within their different departments too, right?
Sure, absolutely.
I've been downtown homeless and literally seen cops be like, what's the point of arresting this person? They're just going to get, you know, kicked out or thrown out because there's not enough room in the jail and yada, yada. And we won't get into all the politics behind that, but it is, right? There's like some chaos within their own system. The left hand doesn't know
Absolutely.
what the right hand's doing.
Absolutely.
So
Throughout
that's-
the whole system.
That's impressive.
So yeah, it was at St. Vinny's. So if you're familiar with downtown,
Oh, yeah.
it was right across the street from the road home. That's where we held
Yeah.
it. And it was really amazing, and not just for me, but I think for everybody there, to see the diversity of the need, the scale of the need, to hear some of the stories. I started asking people in line, you know, where are you from? And people had driven from the top of the state, from the bottom of the state, all night long for the chance to maybe meet with a lawyer who might be able to help them move forward with their life.
And for
I thought,
free.
this is crazy.
And for free.
This is crazy. Yeah.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
So to answer Terry's
Just that-
question,
just that
was
day.
that when the law was passed?
So no, that was this event, and the event, there's so much momentum because one of the things that I love to do most is bring people without power into the same room of people with power. And so we've got the mayors there, we've got members of the state legislature, we have the governors, people from the Department of Public Safety, all in this room. And I think for them, it was just so impactful to just see this line of human beings, super long. And what do these people want? They want a place to live. They want a better job. They want a different life for their kids. And those are things that we really all share.
Right.
And
Higher
I think for
quality of
them to
life.
see that, just people wanting something better, wanting a better future. And there was so much energy and desire to do more after that event that I went back to my office and I felt great about clearing like 200 records. And I'm like, that's amazing. And then I learned there's
But there's
over
thousands and thousands more.
800,000 in Utah
Right.
criminal records people. And I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, this event was amazing, but resource intensive. And there's no way that we can just make the system work this way every day. And so is there a way that we can change the law some way to make it easier? And is there somebody in the universe who's thought of this? And so I started like Googling innovative expungement solutions. And that's how I learned about the concept of automatic clearance. I wish I had come up with it, but a woman named Sharon Dietrich in the state of Pennsylvania actually came up with the concept. And their law was working its way through the Pennsylvania state legislature. And I cold called her and I'm like, this is amazing. I want to do this in Utah. I don't know how. Like, done some policy work, but tell me about it. I want to meet the sponsor. And she was so kind to me. She spent so much time just sending me talking points, the drafts, connecting me with the sponsor. They had run the bill the year before. It had failed. And so I said, like, what went wrong? How can I avoid this? And they were largely responsible for our success, I feel like, in Utah.
So she gave you the blueprint and you just duplicated it.
I did. Copied it.
You said that Utah was the second state. Was Pennsylvania the first? then?
Pennsylvania was the first.
Okay, we're about out of time in this segment. We got about 30 seconds left, but that was the fastest first segment ever, by the way. That thing
gold,
flew
though.
by. This is
Yeah,
great
it's
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah, so in the second segment, we'll come back to this and then kind of move forward into the present day. But
And we are fully expecting for you to put on the Superwoman suit.
Yeah,
just so you know, we're going to need the cape.
I've got my Rasta suit on.
Okay, that's close enough, I guess. We'll let that fly.
All right, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. This is We Do Recover with Jared Miller.
You are listening to We Do Recover with Jared Miller and co-hosted by Dr. Terry Sellers. We'll be right back after this short break with more of We Do Recover with Jared Miller. Brought to you by High Desert Counseling, Rise Up Supplements, and the Hilton Garden Inn.
High Desert Counseling is an adult outpatient substance abuse treatment facility. We offer multiple services including day treatment, morning and evening intensive outpatient services, continuing care, and Prime for Life. What makes us different is our emphasis on gathering all of the information before enrollment. We do this by offering a thorough evaluation by a credentialed professional. Once we have committed to you and you have committed to us, don't worry, insurance will not dictate your treatment. Lastly, the pretzel effect. We are a brief intervention where we connect our clients to community, mental health, and medical professionals to help maintain recovery for life after treatment. At High Desert Counseling, we strive to be the bridge from active addiction to recovery, community, and connection.
We welcome you back to We Do Recover with Jared Miller, co-hosted by Dr. Terry Sellers. Brought to you by High Desert Counseling, Rise Up Supplements, and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn. And now with part 2 of our podcast, Jared Miller and Dr. Terry Sellers.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yeah. We have Noella Sudbury here.
Killing us. She's killing us with information. It's awesome.
Yes, I love it. She's giving us the origin story about how, basically, she's the founder and CEO at Raza Public Health Benefit Corporation. She started the Clean Slate Utah, which is a nonprofit. In the first part, we've dived into all the stuff, right? The origin story and how Clean Slate Utah that came before Raza came about. Episode 117, part 2 is brought to us by our amazing sponsors, the Hilton Garden Inn. It is always sunny and bright at the Hilton Garden Inn. If you or a loved one want to take a trip to beautiful southern Utah, go on to Google, punch in Hilton Garden Inn in St. George, Utah, and give them a shot at your business.
Yep.
They always are super clean, have great amenities, great staff. So we appreciate them sponsoring this podcast.
Yeah, good job. They do a good job for us. We love them. All right. Well, okay. So let's get right back into it because we got tons of information, and we've already gotten a ton of information. So, all right. Here's where we were last segment when we dropped off. Okay. So you had the April 5th of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
You had this expungement day. Helped several hundred people. The law at that point had not been passed yet. The Clean Slate Utah law had not been passed. So take us from that day to what happened to get the Clean Slate Utah law passed.
Sure. So like I said, heard about the law from Pennsylvania, got our campaign going in Utah, similar to our planning for that event we talked about. We built a broad coalition of public safety. We got the chamber involved, lots of people with records together to tell their stories and put a draft together. And in March of 2019, the law passed in the Utah State Legislature, and it passed unanimously. And I've never, before then or since then, worked on anything that was unanimous. So we were pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that just doesn't happen, right?
No.
You're getting Democrats and Republicans to vote on the same thing. Like, that's pretty rare these days.
It's incredible.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so we got a law passed. So coalition was?
Oh, recovery groups all across
Who
the
was
state.
the recovery groups? USARA?
USARA was super involved.
Yeah,
Mary
they're
Jo
great.
was a
We love
champion
USARA.
from the
Yeah.
beginning. Odyssey House, First Step House, House of Hope. So many. I feel like I'm going to forget everybody.
That's all right. Yeah, that's okay.
Sorry in
we just put you on the
You know
spot.
what, though? I think it's important to point out, though, a lot of those places, like I deal with this every day, and I'm sure you do too, Doc, right? Like we bring in a client, we're trying to increase their quality of life. We're taking the substance away from them. We're teaching them coping skills. One of the toughest things in an outpatient setting that you run into every single day from case management to counselor is finding them places to live.
Yeah,
Because if they have really rough records, a lot of places won't rent to them.
totally.
Finding them jobs where employers don't have to take out a special insurance policy because they're a high risk employee, right? Like all this stuff that people don't think about or don't really, unless you know, you don't know. And so I think that this is really cool. And I can see why everybody would come out of the woodwork in the recovery community because we deal with this on an everyday basis.
Totally.
Well, and I'll give you
Totally.
why clients are feeling that way is I deal with a ton of hopeless clients, right? They have no hope that they're going to be able to rent a place, they're going to be able to get a job, and a ton of that has to do with they have this criminal record and they don't see any way it's ever going to go away, so they're always going to be like this. They're hopeless to better their future because they've got some things they did in the past that they can't ever get rid of.
And there's something to be said about
But then
purpose.
here comes Superwoman to try to help them get rid of them. Right?
Absolutely, Noella.
Lots of people, not just me.
Well, I
Here-
get it, but
There's a certain individual, and of course, HIPAA, I'm not going to break HIPAA, but there was an individual who recently, within the last 2 weeks, I was working with one of my clients. This individual got a job that they felt very fulfilled at, that they were in love with. And you saw a complete 360, right? Like they just, the lights came on, they had hope, they were excited for life, they enjoyed what they did. And then the background check came back. And for this individual, given his or her charges weren't long enough.
wait a sec.
What?
You can't break HIPAA if that's about you.
No, I'm saying that it wasn't about
You
me.
sure it's not
yeah,
you?
it's not about me.
All right.
This individual, right?
Sounds like
Their
you.
charges weren't long enough old to the point where, but anyways, so that, it's heartbreaking, right? Because I felt like I was in a zone there, Doc.
I flustered you. Sorry.
But for those individuals, like that purpose, like giving them some kind of purpose and letting them feel like there is hope is a huge deal.
Oh, totally.
And that's why we are both stoked to have you on here and to spread this information about how to get it started.
Everybody needs a little hope, for sure.
Yeah, and I just
you lose it.
continue to be just shocked and how quickly expunging someone's criminal record can make a difference in the things that you're talking about. I mean, the story you've described, right? It could be you, it could be anyone. I mean, we talk to hundreds of people in this exact situation every day, right? But you clear someone's criminal record and within weeks, they've got a better job. They've got health insurance. They've got 401k. They maybe have hit a ceiling in their current job and they've picked up a criminal record and they're afraid to apply for that promotion.
Yeah.
And it just lifts so many barriers so quickly. People without records are 63% more likely to get a job interview. Just 1 year after clearing your record, your wages go up by over 20%.
Oh, geez. That's huge.
So it's just, and these are huge studies of people with records. So the impact is huge, not just practically, but I think the emotional, mental impact of clearing a record, to me, is one of the coolest things, to watch someone change the way that they view themselves.
Yeah, sure.
To have confidence, to feel like they belong, to feel like other people are finally able to see this person inside of them. Is just a really amazing thing to be able to witness.
Sure. Okay, let's get into some nuts and bolts. If I am a person that has a number of misdemeanors on my record, it sounds like I almost don't have to do much.
It depends what they are.
Okay, sure.
Yes, but hopefully not.
Let's say I have 2 possession charges. Those are going to go away someday.
Yep, after a
without
waiting
doing
period.
anything.
Correct.
So
Yep.
7 years from now, those will be gone.
Yep.
I did not commit a misdemeanor this year, so I think I'm good. But those go away. So I don't really need to do anything.
All you need to do is know, right?
Right.
And that's one of the problems with the clean slate law. And one of the reasons we formed RASA is because this law has high impact, right? 500,000 people might be impacted by it. But if you don't know your record's been cleared, then it hasn't impacted you at all.
Right, sure.
And so we needed a way for people to easily be aware.
Okay.
So Sean's got the RASA website pulled up right now for the people that are viewing this either on YouTube or on our Facebook. If you're listening to this on a podcast platform, please go to either our Facebook page or find us on YouTube. Can you get us just riddle off the website? Off the
Yep,
top of your-
it's rasa-legal.com.
rasa-legal.com.
Russ's RASA.
Yep.
What is that stand for something?
It comes from tabula rasa, so it's Latin.
Sure,
so
clean slate.
Clean slate.
Right. Okay, gotcha. Makes sense. All right, so let's say I don't have just misdemeanors. I got a couple of felonies. I have 6 felony counts of uttering a false prescription, for example. Oh, wait, that's me.
That is about you.
is me.
Yeah.
Also a super common charge. You're not alone. That's the first thing that I would say to you.
Yeah. What can we do about that?
Yeah,
Is there anything
so-
that can be done?
Yeah, so this is kind of where RASA comes in, right? So if you go to RASA's website or through Clean Slate, you can actually access the tool for free.
Okay.
Type in your name, date of birth. A lot of people don't remember what's on their record or don't remember the severity. Don't worry about it. We will tell you
Okay.
what is on your record and whether it's eligible for expungement automatically under the court-based process, which is where the felonies are going to come in. Maybe in the future, because you're in a waiting period, like you have the type of record that's eligible, but not now, or not eligible. And there are some offenses that just can't be cleared for public safety reasons. And then what
I think that's important too.
okay.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
going to pause you real quick because as I think about my past, right, like when I originally got felonies, throughout the years, I've been able to get them 402 reduced or automatically, you know what I mean? And so at this point, it's like RASA could tell me like what is expungable and what isn't.
Correct.
Because I don't know if it's still a felony, if it's a misdemeanor. If it is a misdemeanor, does it fall under the Clean Slate Act and is it automatically going to come off? And whoop-de-whoop, right? So the
Totally.
cool thing is going to RASA will, what's that?
What just happened?
That just means like all the stuff. You know? I'm trying
Get
to
with
think
the
from
times.
like a listener's perspective, all these doubts and questions and
Yeah.
fears that they might have in their mind. And so it's just really cool that it automatically tells you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are some of the things that won't come off?
So every state gets to decide what can't be cleared. There's a lot of commonality between states. First-degree felonies cannot be cleared. Violent felonies, registerable sex offenses, if you're on a sex registry. There's a violent offender registry. Felony DUIs, although they can be reduced to misdemeanor DUIs under some circumstances.
Wait, if you get a felony DUI reduced to a misdemeanor DUI, can it then come off
It can
later?
then come off later.
Oh.
Yes.
After the 7
So-
years?
Automatically. It won't come off automatically, but it can be cleared under the petition-based process.
Okay, so you'd have to
So
do
you'll
the
have
RASA
to-
route.
You'll have to, okay.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
good. It's good information to know.
Yeah.
Did
All right.
Did you? Sorry.
No, I got nothing. I don't know why we paused there.
Okay,
Sorry.
so when did RASA come about? So Clean Slate Utah really kicked this off. We passed the law.
So now I'm like knee deep in implementation work with the courts, which turned out to be the hardest part of this process. Getting the law passed, in retrospect, was easy. Getting the courts to actually do the work to
But let's
clear the
be honest, it
records,
wasn't easy, right? You say it's easy
mean-
now because it's in the past.
because it's in the past.
Right.
That's right.
It was difficult.
But this was a huge shift for government. I mean, we were talking about government, all the problems with government. Government is not known for its innovative technology or its speed
And its nimbleness,
and
yes.
its nimbleness.
I don't even know if nimbleness is a word.
Not to the government. They don't know that word.
It's a good
Not
point.
to the government.
Good
It's
point.
not.
So we're trying to implement this law, right? And it doesn't have a notice requirement. And it doesn't have a notice requirement, and none of these clean slate laws do because the government has terrible contact information for people.
Sure.
And so lawmakers didn't feel like it would be effective to send a notice to the last known address, and this is sensitive stuff, might do more harm than good, right?
That's a good point.
And so as we're implementing the law, kind of two issues came up that just led me to start RASA. The first is, okay, people with records need to know if they're eligible. This is overwhelming. It's confusing. Automatic clearance is great, but in a way, it's made it even more complicated, right? And so we asked people with records, like, how would you want to know? And they said, I would want to be able to know from my mobile phone. I may not remember what my records are. I don't know how to get my records. So it needs to be fast, easy, cheap, free if possible. Just know where I stand. And so the first thing that RASA developed was a tool where under 3 minutes, anybody in the state of Utah can know. Our tool is powered by court records. We've written computer code to analyze them. And so It's pretty easy. You can just type in your name, date of birth, and we'll tell you. And it'll be broken down by category. Automatically cleared, court-based cleared. You can check it out right
and
now.
that's at rasa-legal.com
Yes.
right there.
Yep.
Less
Hold
than
on.
3 minutes.
Hold on, Jared Miller.
That's right.
now.
Go
ahead,
for
run it.
And it's
Looking it
great.
up right now.
And then the second reason for RASA is we had a lot of justice impacted people, and everything we do is just informed by people with records. I believe anytime you do anything, you got to ask the people that are impacted what their needs are, what their biggest pain points are. And we had a lot of people say, well, I have a felony record. And you're telling me that now my option is I go through this like year-long, totally broken system that you were describing before Clean Slate, like hopeless, just watch people's just like whole demeanor just sort of drop.
Right.
And so the other thing RASA does is create an affordable, simple pathway for somebody who has records that are not eligible for automatic clearance to get their record cleared. And the first thing we tried at the county was kind of a self-help type thing, but the feedback we got was like, I don't want to do it. Like, even with help, even with free navigation support, it's just a lot.
Seems overwhelming.
And I don't want to think about this. I want to keep looking forward. I don't want to go back in the past. It's different courts, lots of paperwork. Like, can someone just do it for me?
And while that sounds a little bit lazy, let me paint a picture of somebody that's probably in that category, okay? Because I've been through it.
Yeah.
To take time off of work, to go to the courthouse, gas, parking, time, whoop-de-whoop, all the stuff. You love whoop-de-whoop now, Doc. And then you fill out the paperwork. Hopefully you fill it out right. You submit it to the court. There's there's a fee there. It is a way harder, lengthier process than most people. If anybody's out there going, well, they're just lazy. Okay, you go do it.
Yeah.
And then see how fun it is.
Well,
and
okay.
that's just to get the ball rolling. Then you got to come back for an appearance in front of the court if you wanted to get it reduced or expunged. Like really,
It's a lot. It's a lot.
yeah, it's a ton. You have to teach yourself the process or hire an attorney. And guess what? Those people don't have a ton of time. They don't have a
Or
ton of money for
money.
attorneys. So
And also, let me point out, these are people sometimes who have very little hope. Laziness, you can look at it from the outside and say they're lazy. They're hopeless.
yeah, and guess
sometimes. And that's not the same as laziness. That just is overwhelming sometimes.
if they're looking into getting it off their record, they've already done the time.
Yes.
They've already paid the price.
Right.
They have already made amends to society per whatever the judge's order is.
Oh, totally.
And so why not? Why not?
Well, and one of the reasons we started RASA and did it this way, so when you work with RASA, we just handle it for you. We just do everything for you. And I don't think it is people who are lazy.
Yeah.
When we looked at data, 75% of people who started the process were eligible, never completed the process.
Because it is a
Because they made a mistake or they ran out of time or it's complicated. They're working like 2-3 jobs and they don't have transportation. Like,
So this is kind of embarrassing, but I actually had to fill out the 402 reduction form 3 different times because I made a mistake on it the
not
first 2
alone.
times.
It's complicated.
I'm not an attorney, and all this legal
Yeah.
jargon is foreign to me. I might as well be speaking Japanese. I don't know what I don't know.
It's just crazy.
So it's funny
just
I laughed when you
crazy.
said that because that's so
But
true.
you're not alone. 75% of people, like you're in the majority. It's hard. Like
Yeah.
the legal system is not friendly to people who don't have a law degree. It's really, really complicated. And so the ask from justice involved people was like, just do it for us.
Now,
Just do it for us.
One thing I do want to get from you, a couple things. Do you guys do advocacy work? In other words, I know like USAR goes out, like they will literally come to our treatment center and do Narcan trainings,
I
do
love them.
different types of trainings, right? Is there something that your guys' organization does to help spread this awareness at the ground level?
We do.
Cool.
All of our work is from that grassroots level, right? So we've been involved in a lot of legislative efforts to reduce fees related to expungement. So HB 392, HB 323. We provide a ton of community webinars. We have one coming up in April, which is Second Chance Month on the 11th from 5:30 to 6:30. It's completely free. Walk people. It's over Zoom through the process.
Now, real quick, do you
Yeah.
push that over your social media?
Yep. But you should also push it on your social
I
media.
will. I absolutely
I
would
love
love
it.
to.
It's amazing.
How do our listeners get in touch with your social media? Is it Ross?
We're on Facebook. Ross Illegal's on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok.
Whoop-de-whoop, all the stuff.
All the stuff. All the links are on our website. Follow us on all of them. Whoop-de-whoop.
Whoop-de-whoop, Doc.
So hear that one more time in this podcast, I'm going to poke my ears off.
So if you're listening to this, go to your social media, type in Rasa,
Type in whoop-de-whoop.
R-I-S-A, legal.
Wait, what'd you say?
Rasa
I think
legal.
you spelled Rasa wrong, honestly.
R-A-S-A.
Okay, I thought you tossed an
Rasa
I in there,
legal.
but I might be wrong.
Yeah, and follow him. Let's get on that webinar. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yep.
And yes, we absolutely will share it on our podcast page. We'd
I
love to.
love it. Yeah.
For sure.
We just want more people to know what their options are, help as many as people as possible. Our North Star of our company is just clear as many eligible records as possible. Because like you said, these people have done the work. They've completely turned around their lives, and they're getting doors slammed in their face every day. And that's not fair. It's not equal. And it doesn't just hold people back. It holds us all back. Like, we want these people in the economy. We want these people in our communities. And it's 1 in 3 Americans. So it's just extremely common. Do we really want to shut out a third of us? Like, who does that help?
Yeah. It's hard enough getting clean. It's hard enough getting,
yeah.
your kids back in your life or your
There you
family
go.
to come
Don't
back
tell me
around.
they're lazy.
Right.
They did the work to get clean,
Yep.
which is really
Hard
difficult.
work.
And so to really, if we're wanting to see long-term recovery, that means complete human change. And complete human change is letting the past be the past, unless it's going to hurt the public, which we've already addressed.
Yep.
Some of those people crimes that are not expungible, that are not reducible. I don't know if they're, anyways, that's not your guys' gig. The things that apply to them, if they've done their time, if they've, paid their debt to society, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So then my next question, unless you got one,
No,
Doc.
go ahead.
I'm always afraid that
You
I'm
got it.
interrupting you here.
You're not.
Why? Like so you
Oh.
obviously have
So-
a legal degree.
That's my question.
Like, I just want to hug you right now
Oh,
because
my question.
like
So
this
sweet.
is
What's the
like you're
interest
helping our
in-
people so much. Go ahead, Doc.
What's the interest in do you have some interest in addiction? Like what?
Why is this so near and dear to your heart?
Why did you do this?
Well, I think I would highlight a couple of things. My mother grew up in poverty in kind of like rural Utah and had 9 brothers and sisters, very, very poor. And when she married my dad, that just completely transformed her life. And so and he was not like a rich person. He was just like a normal person, right?
He just
But I
was,
think
he just
watching
wasn't
that
broke,
as
right?
as
Okay.
a kid and seeing, how that changed my mom's life, and that wasn't necessarily true for her siblings. I think from an early age that just like, what causes poverty? What keeps people in poverty? How do you get out of poverty? And so I think it was always something that I was just like hyper aware about. Ended up going to the University of Utah, graduated with a social justice degree. Through that, kind of felt like I needed to understand more about the law to make change in the world. Went to law school, became a public defender.
Where'd you go to law school?
University of Utah, graduated in 2009.
Go Cougars.
She's a Utah girl through and through, Doc. I was getting ready to throw that
It's
blow.
true.
That's right. Throw up the Utes, baby.
That's right. That's right. And I think like I really thought what I wanted to do was be
Whoop-de-whoop, all the stuff.
a public defender. And I love public defenders. I think they
That's
do
that's a
God's work.
particular type of person,
Yeah,
right?
but it was really, really hard. And what was frustrating to me is I felt like I was an attorney, did well in law school, working in an extremely broken system that actually wasn't addressing the poverty, the trauma, the substance use, the mental health issues. We were just criminalizing all of it.
Sure.
And so as an attorney, yeah, maybe I can get you a good sentence. Maybe I can get you probation, maybe less days in jail. But like, what is the system doing to actually like help you as a person?
Right.
And I think,
We have had a recurring theme on this podcast that jail does not help a drug addict in any way, shape, or form. Like, it's just not helpful.
It'll dry you out, Doc.
It's not. It does not improve outcomes.
It doesn't
at all.
rehabilitate
it doesn't
people.
rehabilitate
It doesn't.
people.
It's
It
basically a detox.
Yes, you'll probably come out of jail clean.
Right.
And that's only probably, by the way, not for
That's
sure.
true.
You'll probably come out of jail clean, but it does not help your long term.
Yeah. And I think like I always wanted to address those things. And so when I had the opportunity to work for the mayor and like work on the policy side, it was really exciting to me because now like I can fix this system that I was in before that was broken, right? And address these problems at scale. And actually help people get housing, actually help them clear their record, like get jobs, support their families. Like that's what I want to be doing. And so I actually found it to be a lot more satisfying than practicing law.
That's awesome.
But the law was needed in order to get there.
Yeah, you couldn't do the things you're doing today had you not had the background that you have.
Definitely not.
We got about a minute left. Is there
Yeah.
anything, what do you
Wow.
want to get to our listeners?
God, so much pressure.
It's really not.
There's no pressure here.
Just go to our website, like start now. I think the most important thing I would say actually is that we worked on this piece of legislation to reduce fees. Huge win, but it expires, the government fee waiver, on June 30th, 2023. So if you've ever thought about clearing your record, it's never been cheaper. Do it now. Go to Ross's website. If you get your application in by June 30th, you won't pay government fees.
Sweet. Okay.
You just motivated a whole population of people,
30 seconds.
including myself.
Thank heavens for people like Noella Sudbury, who is the CEO and founder of Clean Slate Utah and also RASA Public Benefits Corporation. It takes a big heart to do that, and we're grateful for you. Like all of us are grateful for you. So
I also want to say thanks to Amy because she helped set this up.
Amy is amazing.
Griffith,
I
right?
want to
Amy
say
Griffith.
thanks to Amy.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
Thank you so much for coming on here.
yeah, awesome.
We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today on We Do Recover with Jared Miller.
Help us spread our message of hope. Like, comment, and share.
If you have any topics or ideas for future shows, please share that on our Facebook page.
That Facebook page is We Do Recover with Jared Miller. If you or a loved one needs help, please reach out to us. Again, thank you for listening.
Brought to you by High Desert Counseling, Rise Up Supplements, and the St. George Hilton Garden Inn. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast do not reflect those of its sponsors. This has been a production from a podcast studio.